So we have this idea about like how to convert now the xc of t into x of n, right? Now what we had missed last time was like the p of t, the period of sampling. So now if you see in this case, right? So let's insert a page here, and then okay. So think about this, where you have this something called as, just one second. Okay, so where you have now here. Okay, so think about let's say this is your x of t. Okay, this is your xc of t. Now if I multiply this by a p of t, if I multiply this with a p of t, which has got a period something like this, which period is t1 is t, okay, it's t. So this will be 0. Yeah. So this is 0, this is t1, this is 2t1, this is 3t1, and so on. Okay, that's the period of your pulse train. If I multiply this, what I am going to get is, I am going to get samples at this particular points. The impulses, the time instances will be this, and yeah, so the time instances will be determined by the delta of t minus tt and t. So this particular waveform is delta of t minus kt, right? kt1 in fact, summation k equal to minus infinity to infinity, where t1 is equal to t. Okay, so this is the pulse waveform, but and this is where I am going to get the instances. So at 0, at t1, at 2t1, and at minus t1, something like that, and this will continue. Okay, now if I change my the sampling period to, let's say, a new t1, which is 2t. So what am I going to get is, I am going to get impulse at here, the second impulse is going to be here, and the third impulse is going to be here. Okay, so now in this case, let me change the color. So this is what my new impulses are. This is my new impulses. In this case, I am going to get the values at this instance. This one here, this one here, and this one here. Okay, so this is how my sampling is going to be. Now if you see, my sampling inter sample distance has increased, right? Initially it was the inter sample distance was this, okay, and this is now my new inter sample distance. Now the thing is, this is the frequency, the sampling frequency is determined by this particular inter sample distance. So this is, in this case, my sampling frequency fs is 1 upon t1, which is equal to 1 upon t. In this case, fs is 1 upon t1, which is 1 upon 2t. So if you see, if this is fs1, this is fs2, this is equal to fs1 by 2. So basically you have halved the sampling frequency. Okay, so this is your sampling frequency, which is reciprocal of the which is reciprocal of time period of the impulse train. This is a periodic signal, so this is the time period fs. This is the sampling frequency. Now what Nyquist criteria says is, if for any band limited signal, so xc of t we know it's a band limited signal, okay, is a band limited signal, band limited which has got a maximum, which has got a finite bandwidth. Band limited meaning it's got a finite bandwidth. Now we know that, yeah, it's got a finite bandwidth. We know that if this xc of t has a finite bandwidth, and let's assume that the fm is the maximum frequency content, and then if I use a sampling frequency fs is the sampling frequency which is the impulse train frequency, right? Impulse train. If I use a fs which is twice fm, okay, then if this criteria is actually it's this criteria is not violated, okay. If this criteria is actually followed, then what will happen is you will be able to recover from these samples from xc. What we have done here is xc of t, which had a frequency of fm, and this is fs. P of t has a frequency of fs, okay. So now if these two particular fs and fm has got a relationship which is fs greater than equal to fm, then we will be able to reconstruct xc of t from x of n. So you will be able to get the original back, almost, at least it will be, you will be able to get the original form back from this particular samples x of n. If f of s is less than 2 fm, okay, then we will not be able to reconstruct xc of t from x of n, and this particular phenomena is called as aliasing. We will get aliasing if Nyquist criteria is not followed, okay. The whole concept was we started off with like saying that continuous time signals are difficult to process, because your processing elements are all digital, right? But but the information content is contained here in continuous time, right? We should be able to change from continuous time to discrete time, provided we are able to get the original back. Now think about a scenario where you are singing a song, okay. Now your vocal cords are generating a continuous time signal, Now sometimes you must be using your synthesizers, right? You will be having your techno effect, or you will be increasing your bass, your treble, okay. All these things you are doing on let's say you are listening to songs on the mobile, you are changing all this to get a effect, okay. To get a effect while listening to the songs, you create some kind of a effect using this changes in the bass, treble, or your mids, okay. and then once you change, you get a good effect. You set your synthesizers in such a way that you have set it up to a particular thing where your song is whatever your song you are listening to has got a good effect. Okay, now for this processing to be done, you are on your mobile or on your computer, they are digital in nature, right? They are digital, but then the speakers which you have, the speaker phones, speakers on the connected to your mobile or computer, they are again talking a language of continuous time, right? So the thing is, whatever you had sung, whatever song you had sung, okay, was sampled first, is encoded into, let's say, a MP3 version or whatever, okay, or it's processed. Maybe you can use lossless or lossy encoding, okay, lossless or lossy, and then you change your you added your thing, which is you changed your effects, and you created some x of n. This was x c of t. You sampled it, you got s of t, then converted it into digital, you got x of n, and then you changed your effects and you created a new signal which is x1 of n. Now these signals have to be sent to the speaker. Okay, once you are sending it to the speaker, you want to reconstruct the same original back. You want to reconstruct from x of n. I need to reconstruct xc of t, but this should be, there should not be any loss. There should not be any loss of information, or there should not be, we call it aliasing, which is your loss of information. This loss of information will happen if while sampling you had violated the rule of fs less than the fs should be greater than equal to 2fm. If in this stage when you are sampling it you violated this rule, then whatever song you have sung, you will not be able to reconstruct it back again. I mean, there will be loss. There may be loss of words, or some music will not be, you will not be able to listen to some bits, okay, high frequency content bits, or those kind of issues will come up. So that's why it is very necessary that you do not violate this Nyquist criteria for you to reconstruct the original back, right? So the whole intention of moving it to discrete time or digital is to process it such that you get less bits, you get the song is not heavy on the size. Second thing is you clean up the noise, and then you could also change the way you want to get the effects. You could get a echo effect or whatever, right? Depending on the music you have, whether you want a hall, as if you are listening to a song in a concert hall, as if you are listening to a song in a disco, or as if you are listening to a song in a concert, or I mean in a room. Okay, those kind of effects you can do it using the changing of some of the bars in your synthesizer on the computer, okay, or in the mobile. But then this kind of things, processing happens in the digital domain. That's why you move it to digital. But then when you are satisfied with the output, and whenever this is playing real time, then this synthesizer will be giving out to the speaker, which is reconstructing it back in the real time itself. So for the reconstruction, no information loss to happen. There should not be any loss of information. So like the same song has to be like playing back, whatever you were singing, the same has to be playing back. Then for that to happen, you need to do a perfect reconstruction. For a perfect reconstruction, your Nyquist criteria has to be satisfied. Clear? This is from the application perspective. This is one example I had given you of a song playing on, you playing your karaoke on a mic, and then the same song happening being projected on a speaker. Okay, so that is just one example. Same way there are different examples which will be there for your biomedical reconstruction. So let's say you have done some scans or ultrasound. So everywhere all these signals are analog. Those analog signals are converted into digital format, so you can project it in a better way. You can do those processing, image processing, sound processing, whatever. Okay, even the RF processing for your communication. So everywhere the first step to converting it into digital is your sampling, and when you are sampling it, the Nyquist criteria is important. Nyquist criteria is important, which says that when you are sampling something, any signal, you have to find out what is your maximum frequency content of that signal, and then sample it at twice the maximum frequency content, at least minimum twice. Okay, clear?